Trying to lose weight? It's time to try Hers. At forhers.com/4u, you can access affordable, doctor-trusted weight loss treatments tailored just for you. These include oral medication kits or compounded GLP-1 injections. Through Hers, pricing for oral medication kits start at just $69 a month for a 10-month plan when paid in full upfront. No hidden fees, no membership fees. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to feel like yourself. Hers brings expert care straight to you with 100% online access to personalized treatment plans that put your goals first. Reach your weight loss goals with help through Hers. Get started at forhers.com/4u to access affordable, doctor-trusted weight loss plans. That's forhers.com/4u, forhers.com/4u. Paid for by Hims and Hers Health. Weight loss by Hers is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions at forhers.com apply.
Off a box score. So
yeah,
that's what we're trying to do. So welcome back to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. We are starting as the Milwaukee Brewers are entering the the bottom of the eighth inning against the Rangers. So we'll probably keep a little bit of an eye on that, but we're looking right now. Doesn't look too good for the Brewers, but we still have 8 Milwaukee Brewer games to discuss today. It looks like it's going to be 4 wins and 4 losses, which all things considered could be worse. And then we also are going to welcome Mike again to discuss the Badgers win over Middle Tennessee and preview their game with Alabama. So we're going to hit the intro, and then we'll start talking baseball.
Welcome to another episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we cover the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and Badgers basketball and football teams from an optimistic and realistic perspective.
Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
Alrighty. So as I mentioned, 8 Milwaukee Brewer games to start with today. If you are like us and you are also a Green Bay Packers fan, go and check out our show from last night. We discussed the Packers win over the Lions from Sunday and previewed their matchup for tomorrow night against the Washington Commanders. Today is about the Brewers and Badgers, though, so we're going to start with Brewers and Phillies. Jake, what stood out to you from last Wednesday against the Phillies in Game 2?
Yeah, so happy birthday to me. The Brewers went out there and got a dub for my birthday. Hell yeah, dude. Love that. Quintana was on the mound for this one, gives you 6 1/3, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, and 6 Ks. So not a bad day. Pretty solid start, honestly, when you consider that he's your 5th starter.
I wrote in my notes that he was really good, that the 3 earned runs doesn't reflect how dominant he was through 6 innings.
Yeah, he is 11-5 on the season now, so you can't ask for much more, honestly. And I still remember the feeling I had that washed over me when I heard the announcement of him signing with the Brewers. I was like, hell yeah, dude, that's a solid guy every 5 days.
Yep.
And this was the day that we found out about Yelly being out with back soreness. And I saw a lot of people saying some little sideways things on Yelich, which, let's pump the brakes a little bit. He, up to this day, he played 102 out of 139 games. 18 starts in left field and 111 as DH, so that's pretty reliable for me. Also leading the Brewers in home runs and a bunch of other batting stats. He's the locker room leader. He's just everything to this team. And one quote I took away before I get into some more contextual stuff is a quote that came from Murphy before this game, and he talked about how baseball gives you the full catastrophe. Basically, there's injuries that happen. The season's so long. You play a lot of consecutive games. I mean, I'm cliff noting what he said. But, in general, he's right. This Brewers team has dealt with a lot of injuries all over the place, dealt with low expectations, dealt with meeting them and exceeding them, win streaks, everything. Baseball is a very fun sport, but it is the last sport that somebody should watch if they're going to be so low on the lows and not enjoy the highs as much. It is the last sport to enjoy.
Yeah, don't bring your football mindset to baseball season.
If you're able to just take it day by day and really just enjoy the totality of the season, baseball is the perfect sport for you.
Yeah.
So back to the game. Bryce Terang had a really, really good game in this one. Had a 2-out RBI, got him to 70 RBIs in the season. He also had a double, his 25th of the season, and a triple, his second triple of the season, and a walk. And he got his 23rd stolen base of the season, so a really, really good game for Bryce Terang. Got the batting average up to over 290 this late in the season. Really impressive for a guy who gives you platinum level defense, right? Bryce Terang is absolutely pushing that price tag up as he keeps being successful this season. Terang RBI double scored Jake Bauers, who on this day snapped an 0 for 20 streak. Must have felt so good for Jake Bauers. The Brewers had 5 runs in the first inning before an out occurred. They got the highlight of the day was a 3-run homer from Isaac Collins. He's up to 9 home runs now. That was his first home run since his walk-off on August 10th. So, hell yeah, dude. Both probably felt just as good, I'm just going to say. This win versus the Phillies also guaranteed a season series win over the Phillies, and they have a winning record versus every division leader in baseball. The Phillies, the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, the Tigers, Houston. They have beat them all. They've handled their business. Now people are going to see this little streak that they're on right now and absolutely freak out. Not us. We're going to stay rock solid. We understand that everything that we want to accomplish is still in front of us. That's what the team's mindset is as well. And, I mean, honestly, a good bounce-back game after a day of rest that was well-earned.
Yeah, for sure. And they got that day off. They clocked back in, and they got right to work on Aaron Nola. Bryce Terang drew a walk. Jackson Chourio got hit by a pitch. William Contreras ripped a single. Sal hit a blooper that landed. Jackson Chourio went to third on that blooper. And then the throw went by the third baseman, and Jackson Chourio took off. I just want to say, if Ellie De La Cruz did that, it'd be everywhere. People would be glazing the shit out of it.
Yep.
But it's Jackson Chourio. Still a cool thing. Isaac Collins took on the second pitch he sees, hits his first home run since the walk-off, like Jake mentioned. The Brewers were up 5-0 before an out was recorded.
Mm-hmm.
The defense looked back in check. The second inning, 3 ground outs, all of them to Jose Quintana. That was cool. The fourth, Jose Quintana couldn't wrangle a tapper, but 2 pitches later gets a grounder to first base. Jake Bauers steps on the bag, throws a second for a double play. That was good defense there as well. And then Bauers turns defense into offense, hits a single to break up 5 straight retired by the Phillies. Terang scored him with a rocket off the left field wall. That was Terang's 3rd time on base in the game already. He had the walk and then a triple and a double. Top of the 5th, a broken bat single and a couple ground balls, found some holes to make a run for the Phillies. I still think that Quintana was doing a good job getting soft contact, just kind of unlucky with the directions. Did get 3 swing and misses to Schwarber on the slurve, which he was throwing a lot, not something we've seen a ton of from him in 2025, so that was interesting to see. And then got Harper to ground out after that to not allow any further damage. Top of the 6th, there was an error on Siegler that was erased by Jose Quintana, got a ground into a double play. That contact, like I said, from the 5th inning, did kind of come back to work in the Brewers' favor there. Top of the 7th, Jose Quintana did come out for the 7th inning with 86 pitches through 6 innings, facing the 7, 8, and 9 hitters, gave up a single, a strikeout, and then a home run. Hung a breaking ball on his 97th pitch of the game. I looked at it. His velocity was down in the 7th inning. So just kind of seems like if we get to a point where, Jose Quintana's next start, or if he pitches in the playoffs, that 6 innings is probably going to be that cap, unless he is somehow, at say it's like 75 pitches.
Fair.
But I guess maybe the pitch count is a little bit more apt to something to be paying attention to, that maybe they cap him around 85, 90 pitches.
Mm-hmm.
With that, Ashby came in for the top of the order, got an infield single by Trey Turner, walked Kyle Schwarber, and then Bryce Harper, as the tying run, got a grounder to Bryce Terang, double clutched it out of the glove, so they weren't able to turn 2, but Ashby got Real Muto to strike out on a changeup. Top of the 8th, Pat Murphy went with Abner Uribe, not Jared Koenig, but he was facing the 5, 6, 7 hitters in the lineup. Those were all righties. He got a strikeout looking, allowed a single on a 3-1 count, and then on a 3-2 count to Nick Castellanos, got a ground ball. Siegler made a really nice play to start a 5-4-3 double play, making up for the error that he had earlier in the game. Still, good job. That was a good job by by Uribe to face the momentum, to face the minimum in that inning. At the top of the 9th, that's when we got to see Koenig, a 1-out, just barely nicked hit by pitch, a really soft one, but it still was a hit by pitch. So, it is what it is. He struck out Trey Turner, got Schwarber to ground out, and and just did a really good job to finish that inning. Honestly, that was a pretty good game against a pretty good team. So I really don't have anything to really be like, they didn't do this well enough. Even Siegler, like I said, didn't do a good job by making the one error, but did make up for it. Brewers-Phillies game 3, kind of you look at the lineup and it's like, oh, there's a lot of right-handed batters in here against Ranger Suarez, who pitches 202 to left-handed batters on opponent batting average, 258 versus righties. So you look at that, and then you look at slug. Ranger Suarez versus lefties allows a 242 slug. That's insanely low. That's a batting average level of slugging.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And allows 378 to righties. So I understand Murphy stacking the lineup. Didn't really matter because Ranger Suarez was getting a super loose zone against the Brewers. And then you get to the top of the first inning, and Freddie Peralta is not getting the same zone that Ranger Suarez is getting. Did still get 4 strikeouts of the first 6 outs of the game. His fastball looked really good. Did a great job navigating the bases loaded in the 4th. Struck out 2 with first and second, nobody out, and then also got a 3rd strikeout of Alec Boehm. I think Freddie pitched very well to combat Ranger Suarez, and I will say this, I put this in my notes, that is a potential playoff matchup.
Yep.
We could see Freddie Peralta versus Ranger Suarez in the playoffs, and hopefully it just works out better for the Brewers. But, you talk about Pat Murphy brought Yoel Payamps into this game late and gave up a run. You got to be able to score more than 2 to win. Obviously, scoring 0, you don't win. But, if anything you want to throw at Payamps, just keep it to yourself at that point, honestly. It's really not worth it because the Brewers needed to do better hitting. I will say the Brewers did make lots of contact, only had 11 swing and misses against 137 total pitches, only had 7 strikeouts, only had 7 hard hits, though. They just didn't really find the holes, stack traffic. The Brewers only had 5 batters in an inning twice the entire game. They had 4 times, and then they went 1, 2, 3 times. Despite having a higher expected batting average as a team than the Phillies, 236 to 173. They also out-hit them 7-6. Their best shot to break through was the bottom of the 6th. They had 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. Caleb Durbin hit a ground out. Danny Jansen hit a shallow fly out that wasn't deep enough to score a run, and then Andre Monasterio grounded out. Top of the 7th, Philly was able to use that for momentum, get a 1-out triple and a 2-out single to score a run, and then obviously, like I mentioned, Payamps gave up that 2nd run. And then in the bottom of the 9th, Andre Monasterio got robbed of a home run, kind of just a cap on the night. Like, okay, cool, that's where we're at. That would have been a home run in 15 out of 30 ballparks. So what did you take away from last Thursday?
Yeah, so I wrote down that this was a classic pitcher's duel, and I also wrote down possible playoff matchup. So nicely done, my boy.
Lines, as they say.
I wrote down that both guys were elite. Any way you want to look at it, both guys were really good. Suarez is having a very good year for the Phillies. Same with Peralta for the Brewers. Suarez went 6 shutout innings, only giving up 5 hits. Peralta went 5 innings, giving up 2 hits, had 3 walks and 8 strikeouts. He also tied for the second longest scoreless inning streak in Brewers history with Devin Williams in 2022. And the Brewers went 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. So I was actually going to talk about Payamps too, because I've seen people be like, oh my God, why would Pat put him in the game? I'm like, well, maybe don't go 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. It's not that difficult, dude.
Yep.
If they go 3 for 10, they win this game. They hit 300, they win this game. I said that the Phillies got a single from Turner with 2 outs and 2 strikes to give them 1-0 lead. Stout doubled in Bader in the top of the 9th to make it 2-0. Brewers offense couldn't string any hits together outside of the 4th inning when they had 2 on and 1 out. Vaughn was on. Vaughn and Durbin were on. Jansen got into a fielder's choice, and Mona popped out. Perkins struck out looking. That's really the name of the game is the Brewers didn't get any hits, and the pitching and defense was pretty good for both teams. Trey Turner has the highest. Does he still have the highest batting average? I know at this point he did have the highest. So. He had the highest batting average.
I think it's still Trey Turner and then Sal.
Yeah, so you're talking about the guy who has the highest batting average in the entire league. I'm talking National League, not Major League Baseball.
Right.
And then you're talking about Stott. That guy's a good freaking player too. The Phillies have a lot of good players over there. They're not slouches by any means. Phillies are a good team. I want them to take out the Dodgers for us, so we don't have to face don't have to face the Dodgers. But it is what it is. Just a loss, man. You move on, man.
Yeah. So starting with the sweep against the Pirates, what did you take away from Friday?
Oh, now Brewers Nation can all collectively take an exhale because Quinn Priester pitched a gem. 7 innings, 12-2 on the season. He has 11 straight wins. Oh, the Brewers have 11 straight wins when Priester starts. That's a new franchise record. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to the Brewers for putting that streak together. That's very nice. He gave up 6 2-run runs, had 1 walk and 6 Ks. Did a fantastic job. He's just a ground ball guy, and I honestly. He is the 2025 MLB version of Humble Pie for everybody that fucking complained about the trade. Like, dead ass. Garrett Koenig was really good, 2 Ks in his innings pitch, and Uribe shutout inning for him as well. The Brewers offense was struggling with runners in scoring position. That is no secret. It's been struggling for a couple weeks now. They were 3 for 20 in this game. They had 20 at-bats. Yep. Runners in scoring position, and the guy that broke the hitless streak was Jake Bauers. And after that, Turang and Vaughn got hits with runners in scoring position. Bauers was 1 for 3, Turang was 1 for 3, Vaughn was 1 for 4. That's 10 of your 20 at bats right there from those guys, and you're talking 3 for 10. The reason I brought up 3 for 10 against the Phillies was because it literally happened the next day. You see how I correlate all my notes? I'm
glad that you emphasize the 20 and not the 3.
Yeah.
Because
I want a lot of at-bats.
And that's the thing. Like, 3 for 20 is 150. That sucks.
Yeah.
But you have 20 dudes in scoring position?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
20 at-bats with runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
And they batted 150 in those spots and still scored 5 runs.
Yeah.
I mean, they talk about it on the broadcast. We talk about it. It's not a secret that the Brewers' magic number is 4. They scored 5 runs on a day that they batted 150 with runners in scoring position because they put guys on base.
Yep.
Okay, continue if you had anything else.
No, I wanted to talk about how finally breaking through with Jake Bauers, and this was the game where he started kind of getting out of a little bit of a heater. And the Brewers' offense honestly needed it this last weekend. So, awesome by Bauers coming back. Obviously, we all know in real life that Rhys Hoskins came back today too. So, Brewers have 3 first basemen. 2 of the first basemen in this game on Friday night got RBIs and led the Brewers to a win that they honestly, I think the fans needed more than the team.
I agree. I'm going to start my notes with this one by giving credit to a Pirate, to Oviedo. They're the starter for this game. He did a good job against Jackson Churio, getting him to swing at an inside fastball and then throwing an outside slider on 1 and 2. The Brewers had first and second with nobody out. They did just get the 1 run in that inning. That was a good job by Oviedo. I'm not gonna deny. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. The credit is due where it is, even if it's to an opponent. Helps when you still win. Makes it easier to give your credit to the opponents when it's due. Top of the first inning, Quinn Priester got a 3-pitch strike. Bottom of the first inning, Quinn Priester got a 3-pitch strikeout, allowed a 1-2 opposite field double. His fastball had a little bit too much plate on the outside corner, and then walked Brian Reynolds with first base open. Really not the end of the world. Got a ground ball, but it wasn't hard enough to turn 2, but it did set up Andrew Vaughn to make a really, really nice play on a line drive by Andrew McCutchen. I'm just going to keep mentioning it because I don't think that we've discussed it enough, and I don't think it's something that's being brought up enough in the whole of Brewers fandom because everybody's so focused on his bat that Andrew Vaughn is playing really good defense for the Brewers.
Dude, we've brought it up probably 9-10 times over the last month.
And I don't see it anywhere else except for like when the media people are tweeting about it as it's happening.
Yeah.
Like I don't see when people are having, like end of game thoughts and conversations, people are not talking enough about Andrew Vaughn's defense. And not even just to mention like making good plays, but also just like hustling, leaving it out there, like diving to first base with the ball in his glove to make outs. Like that's good stuff.
I don't mean to interject too many times in between you talking, but if you really think about it, I mean, because we've talked about Bauer, we talked about Bauer's last year being more of a defensive guy. He does have some pop right in the bat, but he was much better than Reese at picking balls in the dirt and stuff like that. And he was much more slick with the glove, where then Reese was really just all offense. I think Vaughn's a good combination of both of them if you really consider it.
Absolutely. I will say, to not to keep giving credit to the Pirates, but Nick Gonzalez is going to be a pain in our ass for a good while.
Yeah, he's going to be the new Reynolds, bro.
I mean, it is what it is. He gets a ground rule double. He's a good hitter. O'Neal Cruz got a slow grounder up the middle to tie the game at 1. A quick 1-2-3 to follow that. Pirates did get a 2-1 lead in the bottom of the third with a double with a man on first. Terang did make a diving stop, tried to throw sitting, and that allowed the base runner to get to second base, but no further damage. Now, the bottom of the fourth, I think, is a defining inning for Quinn Priester. He allowed a single and then another super soft hit by pitch against the Brewers, just a barely grazing one, but put the Pirates with first and second with nobody out. And Quinn Priester got a double play and another ground out, and I think that was a game-changing inning for Quinn Priester. He followed that up with an 8-pitch fifth inning, a 13-pitch sixth inning, got the seventh on 11 pitches, got a 1-2-3, started with a 6-pitch K. Backwards K, I should say. Started with a 6-pitch looking strikeout, and then got the next 2 outs in just 5 pitches. He finished 7 innings, had 6 hits, a walk, 6 strikeouts, only allowed the 2 earned runs, pitched a true gem. Justin, welcome back. Glad to see everybody doing well, including the Brew Crew. It was a great weekend.
Yes, it was.
Wisconsin sports. Absolutely. Looking at the 8th inning, Caden got a quick 8th. Abney Uribe got a save for the 9th, all ground outs. The Brewers did add an insurance run in the 8th and in the 9th, thanks to some questionable defense by the Pirates. But what I will say is the one person on Pittsburgh who did not play questionable defense was Brian Reynolds. That dude was running a lot of stuff down out in right field.
You ever see? I know you've seen the meme where the Lamborghini's parked next to like that shitty house. That's Brian Reynolds on the Pirates, bro. Like he's a good player, dude.
He really is. I mean, he's been an all-star before, and like he's paid, so like he's good. But
I mean, if I'm gonna lose 90 to 95 games every year, I want to get paid too, bro.
Right. So we talked about the batting with runners in scoring position. Also with this game on Friday, Nick Mears did go to the 15-day injured list. It does sound like it's going to be a minimum stay for him. So that's kind of just where we're at with the bullpen as well. Something to add context. Obviously, we're already without Trevor McGill in this stretch, but also now Nick Mears. So the Brewers are just kind of going through it a little bit. I think a lot of this stuff is partially precautionary, just to make sure guys are 100% for the playoffs.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I think that like he's doing it just to make sure that they get that many days off. I really believe that.
Looking at a 4-4 week, like yes, it would be cool if the Brewers could win 100 games. Yes, it would be cool if they could set a franchise record for wins. But the really only things that we need to push hard for is the 1 seed and health.
Do you know what would be way cooler than winning 100 games is going to a goddamn parade in downtown Milwaukee?
Yeah.
That would be way more fun.
Yep.
And I'm just going to say right now, if they win the World Series, you're calling into work. I'm calling into work. I already told my boss. I said,
I don't even have to call in. I'm going to walk in and be like, hey, this day, I'm not going to be here.
Yeah, I told my boss, like, if any of my teams win, I will not be here the day of that parade. So you better pay attention to whatever day that is. I'm not here, okay? I don't exist. You never knew me. I'll be back the next day, though. Then you know me. So, with that being said.
Going into Saturday, Sal Frelick had a leadoff double that was stranded. Bottom of the first, Brandon Woodruff got in a 2-0 battle with Brian Reynolds on the 9th pitch of the at-bat, gave up a single, didn't allow any damage. But Brandon Woodruff had 3 strikeouts through the first 2 innings, all of them looking.
Yeah.
Which was weird, but, baseball. Got a 7-pitch, 1-2-3 third inning with another backwards K. Top of the fourth, William Contreras had a 2-0 bloop single that O'Neal Cruz did not play very well. Missed the dive, and then the next batter, Jake Bowers, got ahead 3-0 and then swung on 3-0 and pulled a 2-run homer. So, it's cool having athletes out in center field, but it's also something worth mentioning that, you put guys in position where they're not terribly familiar with what the position that they're playing, and it can lead to some detriment.
Yeah, the growing pains.
Yeah. Which we've mentioned with moving Churio around in the outfield. That's something we've discussed, to give a little grace on that. So the bottom of the sixth, the 2-out single did break up 15 straight retired by Brandon Woodruff. 15 straight retired by Brandon Woodruff was broken up by a bloop single. He was fantastic. It was a great bounce back for Brandon Woodruff. 6 innings pitched, only allowed 2 hits, no walks, had 8 strikeouts on only 85 pitches. Giving him that extra day of rest really paid off. Steve said, I do think they're using Ashby a little bit too much. I don't know if they got a backup plan. He should take a day off. I will say the backup plan could be coming soon. Robert Gosser is currently rehabbing, and DL Hall is still expected to be back before the end of the season. It's unfortunate that they're having to use Ashby so much, just because, like we said, they're without Mears and McGill, who are both right-handed pitchers, but they're kind of running out of leverage guys at this point.
Yeah.
To the point that they put in Eric Fetty for the bottom of the 7th on Saturday. Brian Reynolds led off with a double against them, got a 1-pitch flyout, and then Sal threw a strike to third base. And Brian Reynolds went back to second base and just watched it straight to third base. Just a great play by Sal.
He's got a rocket, dude.
Dude, I'm going to say something when we talk about another game this week, but did get a ground out to Joey Ortiz, a nice play on a slow roller to fire to first base, and then a great stretch by Andrew Vaughn. Again, Vaughn with the defense should be mentioned. Brewers bring in Big Z for O'Neal Cruz for a lefty-lefty matchup. He's batting 105 against lefties.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like,
that's
whoa.
Yikes. Unfortunately, he did get walked, and then versus the right-handed hitting Nick York, threw a really nice changeup, got a foul pop out to Caleb Durbin. Pop to the 8th, the Pirates brought in a big lefty for Sal with 1 out. Sal Frelick had a nice at-bat, fouled off 2 pitches on the inside corner, gets one on the low outside corner, and serves it up the middle, and Jackson Churio hits a 2-run home run to left to bust the slump and open up the lead for the Brewers. Terang in another lefty-lefty matchup, he got a single. Contreras got hit by a pitch. There were 13 pitches thrown, no outs, 2 runs scored, and 2 guys on base. Not the way the Pirates wanted that inning to go, obviously.
No.
Bottom of the 8th, with Tobias Myers, he got 1 out, allowed a walk, allowed a single, and then brought in Ashby. And it's unfortunate that is a place where, like Steve said, maybe using Ashby a little bit too much. But this, to me, that bottom of the 8th inning, with putting Tobias Myers in that situation, I saw it as an audition for who's making the playoff roster. Obviously, you don't want to be looking ahead too much to the point that you're losing too much focus. But these are things you have to pay attention to. Yeah. Like, you don't want to get to the postseason and not be prepared, with health and rest and, having a plan, and then be like, well, why weren't they thinking about this all of September when they were clinching playoff spot? And, then clinching the division, and then clinching the 2 seed, and then clinching the 1 seed. Like, these are things that they're going to think about now. That's part of the big picture. That's part of being a professional baseball team. You have to be thinking about these things. Obviously, you just have to try to walk the line of where you're paying attention to it enough versus too much.
Yeah.
Ashby got ahead 0-2 super quick with an inside corner fastball and then a big old curveball, and then got a double play ball right to Bryce Terang. So great job by Ashby in that one. I will give credit again to a Pirates pitcher. Caleb Durbin hits a rocket up the middle, and the Pirates pitcher made like a behind-the-back catch. Like, oh, cool. That'll be on a highlight reel in 10 years when people are making compilation videos of crazy pitcher plays. Love that. You get to the bottom of the 9th. The Brewers left in Ashby. He struck out Reynolds. Walked Reynolds. Struck out Tommy Pham on a beautiful curveball. Gave a ground roll double to Gonzalez to give the Pirates their only run of the game. Didn't get a run on that because it was a ground roll double. And then they got a run on an O'Neal Cruz ground out. And then another strikeout on what I would call a vanishing curveball by Aaron Ashby. So what did you see from Saturday?
First of all, random thought. Who has lost more baseball games in the last 3 years than Tommy Pham? That guy has lost a lot of baseball games. He was on the White Sox, and now he's on the Pirates, bro.
He was on the Pirates last year also, I think.
No, wasn't he on the White Sox last year?
Did he get traded? I thought he was with the Pirates last year. Did he get traded?
He tried
Or
to
did
get
he
into
get
that
released
fight.
and then signed?
I think he released and signed.
Keep talking. I'll look it up.
He tried to get into that fight with Contreras, remember? At home plate. That's why I think he was on there last year. But sorry, that's just a random thought. My brain's just going all over the place. This is what I wrote down. So Woody looked like the guy that came back from injury when he first came up. The 0 walks is the biggest part for me. Walks were a problem for the Brewers for a couple of weeks there, and now the pitching is starting to rein it back in. Obviously, getting some off days is helping the arms. But Woody got his 6th win of the year. He went over his stats, very nicely done. Fetty Z, they did a nice job. I think Big Z does make the playoff roster, just my opinion at this point. He's been good in situational baseball against lefties when asked to be. And Ashby, I've confessed my love for him a couple times. So I wrote down Bowers in the 4th inning and Churio in the 8th inning, flexing the muscle with a couple 2-run shots. In the 4th inning, Churio ground out to first. Terang, strikeout swinging. Contreras, first base to right with 2 outs. And Bowers, 382 feet to right center. Coming out of the slump and showing the power now. This is the Jake Bowers that the Brewers need down the stretch. So absolutely beautiful job by him. In the 8th inning, Ortiz had a ground out. Frelick had a 6-pitch battle. He followed off a sweeper and got a sweeper right after that with 2 strikes. And he hit it right up to center straight away. Did a nice job there. And then Churio golfs a low cutter, and that was a good pitch.
Yeah,
honestly, and you can watch the at bat back, and you're like, dude, so many people swing and miss at that. But that's what makes Jackson Churio special. Is he's able to hit some of that stuff, 365 feet for a home run. Now, 365 feet. I mean, you have to hit it in the right spot in most ballparks for that to be a home run. But to be able to hit that pitch, because that's not a super fast pitch, low at the knees, I mean, that's incredible stuff, dude. So, great job by him. Again, 0 for 6 in runners in scoring position. But, like I said, the Brewers flexing the muscle. Jake Bowers did a nice job. 90% of my notes I couldn't say. But, hey, it is what it is. Oh, I did write down this little tidbit. They scored 10 runs. Oh, nope, never mind. That's the next game. I'll go into that one right now.
Really quick, Tommy Pham played with the White Sox last year, was part of the Eric Fetty trade. So he went to the Cardinals, got designated for assignment, played the last month of the season with the Royals, and then played this year with the Pirates. Yeah. Before the White Sox, he was actually traded from the Mets to the Diamondbacks in 2023. So he probably didn't have a terrible 2023, but his last 2 years have sucked.
Dude, he's been on fucking 5 teams in 3 years, bro.
Yeah, 5 teams in 3 years. Yep.
Jesus Christ, that's crazy.
Yeah, go to Sunday, and I'm gonna run. I'll be right back.
Okay, so going into Sunday, we have the Miz on the mound, and there's no secret that the Miz has struggled in his last couple outings with walks and being hit, and coming off the injury list. So for the Miz to go on the mound and do what he did after the first inning, I was actually texting my dad, and I was like, "Oh God, here it comes. Might be another short outing. We got to get this guy going." And there's been discussions about, do they put him in the bullpen? Do they use him as a spot starter? Let him go one time through the lineups, whether that is 2 innings, 2 1/3, 3 innings, whatever it is. Let him go through the lineup one time. There's been a lot of discussion on how they're going to utilize him as a weapon in the playoffs. So 7 innings pitched for him, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 8 Ks. And again, I am so shocked that he was able to go 7 innings after, I believe it was 19 pitches in the first inning. He ends up throwing 108 pitches, 74 of them for strikes. That is impressive stuff from the young man who at one point was being called generational and stuff. Now the stock is a little bit lower on him. He's going to be just fine. He's going, we just said growing pains with the Pirates putting O'Neill in center field. He's going through growing pains.
Mhm.
You know, people are going to get taped. They're going to figure out what kind of pitches he likes to throw in certain situations. And if you're one of those really good guys, you adjust to the adjustments and you figure it out. And that's
Yep.
exactly what the Miz is doing right now. So I'm still shocked talking about it again, thinking about it again, that he was able to go 7 innings after that first inning, man. I was like, he might go 4. I was thinking that in my head.
I'm not even going to lie to you. I was a little bit worried about him in the third inning, strictly because he was at 50 pitches through 2 2/3.
Yeah.
And there was one pitch that he threw where he kind of stepped off the mound awkwardly,
Yeah.
but there was just like divots in the mound. So like it wasn't like an injury thing. But it just looked like maybe it was some fatigue. But
Right.
he was also in an at-bat with Brian Reynolds, who ended up singling in part of a really long at-bat. And then Mizorowski was able to get a flyout to Gonzalez, but he was at 57 pitches through 3 innings.
Dude, that guy is just Brian Reynolds is just so annoying.
He's tough.
He loses a lot of games to us, but man, is he a good player. I would love for him towards the end of his career to come play for the Brewers. He seems like he'd fit
Like
in
McCutcheon
really
did.
well. Yeah, good point actually. Payamps comes into the game in the 8th inning, gives up a run, but you know at that point the Brewers, they had a 5-0 lead after 2 innings, a 9-1 lead after 3 innings. They scored 1 in the 4th, and then the Pirates scored in the 8th as well to, you know, again off Payamps. Yoho comes in, has a clean inning. Thank you. Everybody involved needed that. The coaching staff,
Yep.
Craig Yoho, the AAA affiliate, everybody needed Craig Yoho to come in and have a clean inning. If he wasn't
Honestly,
going
it
to
was
have
a
a clean
really
inning in this
good
game,
clean inning too. It took him 10 pitches. He had 2 strikeouts. He kept his fastballs on the edge and got O'Neal Cruz to strike out on 3 changeups.
and
That was really, really good.
yeah, the changeup looked really good. I wrote down, you know, multiple people providing run support, which is something that I always love. 6 people providing run support, 2 people with 2, Bowers and Terang. Terang had 2 2-out RBIs. Jansen got in on the action. That's nice to see, especially with the news that came out today. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But the Brewers scoring 10 runs without a home run or Christian Yelich in the lineup, that's scary. That is scary for everybody involved.
And I'll even throw this with Bryce Terang leading off with an opposite field single to beat a shift. Isaac Collins following with an opposite field single. William Contreras going from 0-2 to 3-2 and drawing a walk. Loading the bases with nobody out. Jake Bowers pulled a double. Andrew Vaughn with a single. And then Caleb Durbin ground into a double play that still produced a run. That all came against Bubba Chandler, one of the top 3, I would say, pitching prospects in the Pirates organization. It's obviously Paul Skeens, Jared Jones, who is out with an injury, and then it's Bubba Chandler. Like, those are the 3 guys that they're most excited about.
Mm-hmm.
And the Brewers put it to them. And I want to give credit again to the defensive side of the ball. Jacob Mizorowski started with 2 walks, got a 1-pitch fielder's choice. 2 more pitches later, gets a 5-4-3 double play, and another good stretch by Andrew Vaughn. I want to keep giving that that context out there. There was a point, like I said, with Mizorowski where I was like, ooh, you know, maybe this is going to be his last inning. And then he comes out in the bottom of the 4th and was a check swing call away from having an immaculate inning. I don't think there was a swing on the check swing that was appealed, but if the batter had swung, Mizorowski would have had an immaculate inning. Obviously pitched 10 pitches. But my favorite part of it, and I'm going to post the video before Mizorowski's next start, is you get to the final batter with 2 strikes, and you can see Mizorowski mouthing fastball. He's like, fastball, fucking fastball. He like shakes his head. He's like, fastball. And then he gets, I'm assuming, the call for the fastball, and he nods. He throws 101 mile an hour fastball painted on the corner. Like, dude's 23, loves Pokemon, and has stones bigger than basketballs. Like, that was impressive to me. I don't care that it's against the Pirates. Had 81 pitches through 5, got an 8-pitch 6th inning. The 7th inning added 2 more strikeouts for a final his final strikeout being a 10-pitch at bat to Joey Bart. He retired 16 of the final 17 batters, including 13 straight. on those career high 108 pitches and 7 innings. And you talked about Yoho already, but the last thing on Mizorowski, his velocity, break, and spin were all normal, all within normal levels, which means none of that was the cause of him having a really good game. It means that it was the command was the variable that was better.
And honestly, that's something that we mentioned on the show too. When he first came up, we talked about, that was the big issue on him, and everybody was talking about it. But once he gets that down, dude, it's GG's for everybody every 5 days.
So then he's going to be Tariq Skubal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like Tariq Skubal. He's very good.
That's Mizorowski's ceiling. I mean, Mizorowski with good control is Tariq Skubal.
I like that.
All right, let's go to this Rangers series. Honestly, just kind of an annoying series, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, I don't have much for the first game, but yeah.
We can start with Monday. Caleb Durbin grounded into a double play, wiped out an Andrew Vaughn single on the top of the second. He did make up for it with a really nice play on the third baseline, throwing from foul line to foul line. I don't think people really understand how long of a throw that is, especially for a guy who is perceived to not have the greatest arm for third base.
Right.
So good on him. Jose Quintana was perfect through 4 innings. The defense was all over the place. Texas just putting the ball in play. Did allow a walk to Berger to start the 5th after Bryce Durang couldn't wrangle a foul pop-up. The next play was a fielder's choice on a web gem by Joey Ortiz, which I think would have been an infield single if there was nobody on base. Followed by a double off the left field wall. It was the first hit that Quintana allowed. And again, we talk about Jackson Churiel being in unfamiliar ballparks and having the occasional misplay off the walls and stuff like that. He played that one really well, held it to a single, and Quintana allowed a 4-pitch walk to a right-handed hitter to bring up the number 8 hitter, who was also a righty. Got a quick 0-2, and then he yanks a grand slam. Quintana was still only at 73 pitches through the 6th inning. The number 7 and 8 hitters did combine for another run later on, but just one of those things where Quintana talked about it. It's just a couple bad pitches here and there, and that's really just what it is. Brewers stacked a little bit of traffic in the game, ultimately didn't get any runs. We did get to see Isaac Collins play an inning of third base, which is interesting. Just, again, trying to juggle all the guys that you have on the roster while also getting guys some playing time in other positions and also giving guys some rest. This game, the biggest thing to me was Christian Yelich. Christian Yelich back in the lineup. Listening to him talk about it after the game, it sounded to me like he was not at all concerned, that it was just back soreness and nothing more. Played, I think he might have played all 19 of the games in the 18 days.
He did, I think, if I remember correctly.
And then he talked about the fatigue of just having a back surgery last year and then playing, like Jake said, 102 out of the 139 games. Is that where we were at?
It was 132 of 139. He had 18 starts in left field, 111 as DH.
That's a lot of baseball to be playing.
That's a lot of
back surgery.
Yeah.
For playing almost every day. But Christian Yelich's at-bats, a 105 mile an hour exit velocity deep fly ball that had an expected batting average of 640 and a home run in 2 out of 30 ballparks. His second at-bat was a single up the middle. His third at-bat was a 106.4 mile an hour exit velocity pitch that had an 840 expected batting average and a home run in 2 out of 30 ballparks. That's really where that game went. Just kind of an annoying game on Monday. What stood out to you, James? Welcome back.
Yeah, first thing I said was welcome back, Christian Yelich, and hitting the ball hard with little to show for it. Had a single that he absolutely crushed in the 5th. Brewers also had 1 hit in the 7th. They got 2 hits in the 6th and 2 hits in the 8th. So they stacked traffic in the 6th and the 8th. I mean, both in the 6th inning, both of them were infield singles, Perkins and Churiel. In the 8th inning, Perkins and Bowers both had singles. So the Brewers had 6 hits in this game, all of them singles. Wasn't for lack of them crushing the ball, which really is the name of this series. The Brewers were crushing the ball, and it was just directly at people. I mean, that's going to be most of my notes for the next game as well. But And last night, I didn't get to watch much of it live, but I did rewatch at work today. I had to watch it in spurts on my breaks, but I got through the entire game. And going into game 2 here, Brewers ended up losing that one last night, 4-5. It was a Chad Patrick start day as the Brewers try to rotate through starting pitchers here. He gives you 4 1/3, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Honestly, all in all, the ups and downs that Chad Patrick's had, the mental fortitude that it's probably taken him to get through and fight through this season. Not a bad start, honestly, on the road against a team like Texas that is trying themselves to fight for the playoffs, and they're on fire right now. Obviously, um, that's just kind of how sports are. Some of it matters on matchup dependent stuff. Home and away. Obviously, that's a big one. And then when you see people is a big thing too. So right now, Texas is playing really, really good baseball, and the Brewers are trying to cipher through giving guys rest and have a lot of injuries, and that's just the name of the game. But
Trying to lose weight? It's time to try Hers. At forhers.com/4u, you can access affordable doctor-trusted weight loss treatments tailored just for you. These include oral medication kits or compounded GLP-1 injections. Through Hers, pricing for oral medication kits start at just $69 a month for a 10-month plan when paid in full upfront. No hidden fees, no membership fees. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to feel like yourself. Hers brings expert care straight to you with 100% online access to personalized treatment plans that put your goals first. Reach your weight loss goals with help through Hers. Get started at forhers.com/4u to access affordable doctor-trusted weight loss plans. That's forhers.com/4u, forhers.com/4u. Paid for by Hims and Hers Health. Weight loss by Hers is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions at forhers.com apply.
Christian Yelich got his 16th steal last night. He was 2 for 5, had a run, an RBI. 93 RBIs in the year now, so it's 7 more to get to 100. I'm really hoping he gets to that 100 and that 30 home run mark. Churio had a good game last night, 3 for 5, scored a run. Jake Bauers had an RBI, 26. He absolutely crushed a home run, his 7th of the year, so he is absolutely on a heater.
It's 443 feet.
Yeah, that was a fucking mammoth shot. Ashby, that's where the comment from Steve comes in my mind was last night was like, guy looks tired. he looks a little exhausted. Anderson and Myers did a nice job. 1 walk in 2 innings between them, 3 Ks. Also want to give a shout out to Contreras. I know that he had to sit out today, but last night he was 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and had a walk. The 2 RBIs, he's up to 71 now. For a guy having a down year to have 70 RBIs is pretty damn impressive, considering he's caught literally almost every single day. That's crazy.
He's neck and neck with Real Muto, who's going to play the most games at catcher.
Yep.
You mentioned Chad Patrick being called up to started the game out with 3 strikeouts. In the bottom of the second, had a walk, then a 75.9 mile an hour single, and 85.5 mile an hour single. Producing a run. Sal did throw a guy out at third base, and this is where I said I was going to bring something up with Sal Frelick. He's got a real strong case to win back-to-back Gold Gloves.
Yeah, he does.
The next play was a flyout. If Sal doesn't throw that runner out at third base, that could have been the second run for the Rangers at that point.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this game, again, super annoying. Top of the 5th, Bryce Terang was robbed of a home run on a short fence. Then with 2 outs, Joey Ortiz on first. Jackson Chourio hit a tapper that Joey Ortiz would have scored on, but had to hold at third base because it was a ground rule double. A gapper, not a tapper. And then Christian Yelich had an infield single to tie the game. Stole second base, like you said, and William Contreras got down 0-2. Hits a 106 mile an hour single up the middle, make the game 3-1. And then a 2-run home run ties the game at 3, and then Ashby comes in, goes single, triple, double that makes the game 5-3 Rangers, and the Brewers would get a run back later on the Jake Bauers home run. The thing that annoyed me with this is obviously I bring up the exit velocities that produced the Rangers' first run. The Brewers had 13 hard hits in this game. Yeah. 13 and lost. Again, it's one of those baseball things, but it's super annoying. And it carries into today. Like, great start to the game. Bryce Terang hits a 0-2 bomb, 110 miles an hour off the bat, 435 feet. Jackson Chourio rakes. He had to go down to get it. Rakes a home run to make it back-to-back. He was down 0-2, got back to 2-2 before hitting the home run. That was 109.1 miles an hour off the bat, 409 feet. Both of those were 30 for 30s. Put them on ESPN.
Nicely done.
And then Christian Yelich follows up with a line out to dead center field, 110.8 miles an hour off the bat. Had an expected batting average of 970. Essentially, that ball is an out 3% of the time.
Yeah.
And it gets caught. Yelich just looks up at Euchre like, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude. I was like, dude, I feel bad for him right now because he's crushing the ball, dude.
Everybody. All of the balls in play. Caleb Durbin gets a ground out, 100.4. Joey Ortiz hits a single, 104.2. Bryce Terang has a fielder's choice, 95.5. Jackson Chourio, ground out, 95.9. These are all classified as hard hits.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie Peralta's 30 straight scoreless innings ended at 30 by naturally a solo home run. Not a cheap shot by Berger, nor was the second one that he hit that kind of put the Rangers ahead for good. But, I mean, just annoying. And then even if you look at the hit breakdown today, 11-6, the Brewers out-hit the Rangers. It's just one of those things where, like, you look at it, I guess you kind of throw your hands up and be like, all right, I guess it's good that we're going home on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to say about today.
No, I was going to talk about Yelich kind of talking to the baseball gods as well after the back-to-back jacks because I was watching it while I was just messing around with some stuff at work, and I'm just like, dude, this guy can't buy a goddamn hit right now. It's going to be like one of those things like, you see the tip of the iceberg kind of memes, right, where, they show like what's actually happening in the production that's waiting. That's how I feel about Yelich. I feel like he's just about to get on a freaking legendary heater come playoff time, dude.
I feel like the quality of contact is a better indicator of near future success than just looking at a small sample size of results.
Yeah, I mean, me and you were texting a little bit last night before I decided to hit the hay, but we were talking about how, hard contact's better than no contact. Just like we talk about runners in scoring position, it's better to stack traffic, and maybe have a 3 for 20 day. Now that's not great. You don't want to have those consistently, but having a 3 for 20 days shows that your guys showed patience. They were hitting the ball. People were getting on base. Things were working. He just needed that one more piece to, put it over the top. The Brewers are going to be just fine. They're going to go on a absolutely generational run, man. I feel it in my soul, man. The playoffs are going to start. The Cubs or somebody, the Phillies are going to come into town being like, oh, we're going to beat the Brewers. They're the 1 seed. Then the Brewers are just going to smack them around like 12-4 the first couple games. And it's just going to be like, yeah, we had this coming. Did you see us in Texas? We were hitting everything 100 and whatever.
Yeah. I mean, Andrew Vaughn is a perfect example. He went through that slump where he was like 8 for 45, but it's like, dude's just hitting missiles all over the place. They're just all right at fielders. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, Andrew Vaughn has a 4-hit game, a 3-hit game, a 2-hit game in Pittsburgh. And it's like, Andrew Vaughn's back. It's like he was never gone.
Yeah.
The ball just couldn't find any fucking grass.
Yeah, that's very fair. That's a very good point.
So the Brewers are off tomorrow, and then they have 3 games at home against the Cardinals at home. Then they're off Monday. 2 off days in a week is crazy. We're only going to have 4 Brewer games next week. Because the Brewers start a series with the Angels next Tuesday. So they play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Wednesday night is a night game. So that'll be after next week's show.
Yep.
So we're only going to have 4 Brewer games next week.
Yep.
But what we will have is another Badger game. So we're going to bring in Mike, and we're going to start talking about the Badgers football win over Middle Tennessee. So, Mike, welcome back. And let's discuss a win against Middle Tennessee, starting with the offensive line.
Yeah, so new offensive line in this one. We were kind of poking at it last week that it was a possibility. We thought maybe only the left tackle was going to get replaced. The Badgers said, fuck that noise. We're mixing it up, boys.
Yep.
So
moving
a new offensive line. From left to right, Malman moved from right tackle to left tackle. Brunner was the one mainstay. He stayed at left guard. Jake Renfroe was a late scratch in this one, and God damn it, if he's a scratch versus Alabama, we might be in trouble. That's all I'm going to say about that right now. It
sounded like that was kind of a surprise, which leads me to believe he's going to play against Alabama.
Yeah.
But what you said.
I think that he is more vital to the Badgers' success versus Alabama than Billy Edwards Jr. is.
By a mile. Respect.
They have a
So
much
serious.
better backup in Danny O'Neal than they do at center.
Yes. How do you say his name? Kadanko or whatever?
Gary
Kadanko.
Kadanko.
High snap. I guess that's how you can say his name if you wanted to. Oh, dude, sorry, I just hit the wrong button. Coverly at right guard, and Mandel moved from left tackle to right tackle, which he showed some really good effort, especially on that long run by Tretch. He got 2 key blocks to spring him open. What did I write here? I think the tackle spots played much better, in my opinion. And then I wrote down their stats. Malvin had 1 hurry and 1 pressure. Brunner gave up 1 hit and 1 pressure. Kadunko, his snapping out of shotgun was an issue in this game, especially in the first half. His high snaps was just really, it's just timing. It's messing with the timing of, run plays, pass plays, everything, right? It's just messing everything up. You're expected to snap the ball, read the defense, get rid of the ball, right? Like that's how it goes. That's the process of how things are supposed to happen. Coverly had 1 hurry and 1 pressure, and Mandel, really, really good game for him. He was much better this week. I'm sure he got challenged after he got his tail whooped a little bit in week 1, but he was really, really good, I thought, in week 2. I was watching him very closely because I was like, wow, they left him in the lineup. That's crazy. And like I said, he made a couple of key blocks, was really good at getting up to the second level. I do think that we need to get more of a push in the run game. I'm not trying to take Mikey's mantra here, but Badgers running backs had 74 yards after contact. Jones had 27. Dupree had 21. That's 48 of the 75. They had 157 yards total. That means they had 83 yards without contact. That's not going to cut it in the Big Ten. That's not going to cut it against Alabama. We need to get a better push up front and allow our running backs to get 2-3 yards, 4 yards up the field before they have to break tackles. You let them get 4 yards up the field and then the 27 yards after contact and the 21 yards after contact. That's where you start controlling time of possession. That's where you start putting Billy Edwards Jr. and Danny O'Neal into successful situations. That's where you can run play action that Tyler and I talk about. You can throw a deep ball to Vinny Anthony Jr. down the field, right? They're going to need to do that kind of stuff against Alabama.
Yeah. Mike, how did you feel about the run game?
Jay kind of touched base on it a little
sorry.
bit. No, it's totally fine. But no, it was definitely, I think, for a game like this when you're playing a get right game, right? What do you got? What do you want to improve on? Things you want to improve on, even with the new offensive line lineup, especially after last week. It wasn't the greatest run game last week either. It was a little bit better, but today, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, boys. I'm a little worried, especially as far as the run game goes, specifically the run game after watching this. Dylan Jones, 10 carries, 36 yards, 6 carries, 25 yards. Yak, 4 carries, 15 yards. Jake, and that goes back to what Jake mentioned. Without the big runs of Tretch and Vinny Anthony, we're at 20 carries for, I wrote down 76 yards, 3.8 yards per carry, right? But I'm not going to put this not all of this on the line. I do think a majority of it did have to do with the interior. You already mentioned the names. But Jake and I were talking about this during the game too. When we were on the goal line, clear-cut example, Jackson Aker, when it was a dive right up the middle, basically, and Jackson Aker was the lead blocker, and he completely whiffed at it, right? And there's another play on another drive that he also whipped the block on. So I don't want to completely penalize the offensive line in this game, although I will say that was a majority of the issues. I mean, with the botch snaps, I think about, the air raid 2 years ago when we first started doing that, and Tanner Beanie had to play center, and that wasn't his natural position, really, right? Yeah. So I just think of that. That's literally the first thing that comes to mind when I watch this last game, and it worries the hell out of me if we're going to have to do the same going into Alabama. So I think kind of what you said, I think it's more vital that Jake Renfro does play this game more than a Billy Edwards Jr. in this case, because we've seen, obviously, Daniel O'Neal, he's got experience. He's got a whole year of starting under his belt, whatever. That's besides the point. But no, I think, going into this week, it's going to be crucial that we have to establish a run game of some sort. I'm not asking for, 200, 250 plus yards, but we need to keep Alabama honest, like the point blank. Otherwise, we are not going to have a shot. All they're going to do is tee off on Danny O'Neal, and we're going to be looking for another quarterback to play in this game. So that it's got to clean up always around O-line and running backs included. No error assignments. Pass blocking for the most part was pretty good. I don't believe we gave up too many. I think it was 1 or 2 sacks maybe, but it was good for the most part. But no, one of the biggest call-outs was our own dudes, our own running backs are missing blocks on the runs too that they are responsible for. So I think it's definitely a collective thing, about with this running game. It's not just the O-line. It's everybody that's involved that's responsible for making those blocks.
One of those sacks did come as a result of a snap over the head of Danny O'Neal, so that does count as a sack. Yeah. I wouldn't really put that on the offensive line so much as, unfortunately, as just on the one guy who's snapping the ball. But as the passing game is concerned, you did mention the runs by the wide receivers that did result in touchdowns. Trechka Kahuna had a 61-yard touchdown. That was a run. And Vinny Anthony had an end-around touchdown. That was a run. But I want to throw out on the Vinny Anthony touchdown that was out of play action. So just kind of another wrinkle added there. Now, Danny O'Neal, the third drive, hit a couple big chunks to Vinny Anthony, Chris Brooks, and then a beautiful touch pass to Lance Mason for 34 yards. Had a chance to hit Mason for a touchdown on 3rd and 3, just had a really bad throw as Mason was breaking towards the sideline, just kind of basically threw it to the out-of-bounds line. With that, they get to a 4th and 3, a good play to have Tyrell Henry run back underneath the slot wide receiver and then break back out for a touchdown. That was a nice play design and a good play and a good execution. Trechka Kahuna could have had a crazy top 10 play type touchdown. Got to get a foot down. It's obviously tough. It's tough to be like, oh, just get a foot down. I'm not saying that. I understand that it would have been difficult, but I believe in the athlete that Trechka Kahuna is. You got to get a foot down. Just one.
I thought dude was going to jump out of the damn stadium, bro. I was like, Jesus Christ, dude.
And I get, too, that if Danny O'Neal didn't have, had a little bit less zip on that it could have helped. But that was almost a really crazy touchdown by Trechka Kahuna from Danny O'Neal.
Dude, Danny puts just a touch too much air. A touch. Yeah. Just take it back just one tick, and he's going to be dropping dimes, dude. He's this close.
Yep. There was, in my opinion, a lack of execution, interception. Offensive line struggled on the play. Danny O'Neal rushed the throw. Dylan Jones kind of ran into his own offensive lineman on a little wheel route screen setup and dropped the ball. I think that's kind of on everybody, like Mike was saying. It's Dylan Jones, it's on the offensive line, and it's on Danny O'Neal that play resulted in interception. I'm not singling any one person out on that.
Yeah, that's one where the quarterback has to throw it at the feet, bro.
Yep.
Drop it right on the ground, dude. Play's dead. But he'll learn that as he gets more experience because he is only a sophomore. So
Right. And then, we talked about the 2 wide receivers scoring on runs. And then Jaden Ballard ran a real nice route, out and up. And with no safety help, that turns into a 58-yard touchdown.
Yeah, I would like to see him get used a little bit more. I think Billy Edwards, he has a little bit stronger arm. I think that he would be spamming Ballard, dude, because he is a really good athlete.
Yeah, that looks fun. And I want to say the last thing on the passing game before we go to the defense is the Badgers got off to a slow start in this game. Not a secret. Mm-hmm. People were freaking out in the first quarter. Oh my God, they're losing 3-0 to Middle Tennessee. Final score ended up being 42-10. It's not that big of a deal. Obviously, you don't want to start slow, but I think people feel better if you're just consistently scoring throughout the game, even though they did win 42-10. But Danny O'Neal was one of the guys vocal at halftime. So I just wanted to give him that shout out. He was one of the guys saying, hey, this isn't who we are. And the Badgers came out and kind of just set the example of, hey, this is what we do to mid-majors.
Yeah.
All right, going to the defensive side of the ball, Jake, how'd you feel about the D-line?
So D-line was pretty damn good. Barton, I'm going to go through. I have run and pass stats for all these guys. So Barton had 1 hurry in the pass game. He didn't have any tackles in the run game. He had 1 miss. 4 total missed tackles from the Badgers. 2K from the D-line. Mike Garner and Ben Barton had those misses for the D-line. Suggs had one hurry, and in the run game, he did a fantastic job plugging up holes. That is his job. You just be big, and you don't let anybody run through this B gap or this C gap or this A gap when your assignment is that, and he did exactly that. I was like, yes, I like him in the run game. He's one of those guys that I feel like if he puts on good tape against the run, that he could be an undrafted free agent in a camp next year. I think that he has that kind of potential. The Badgers had the D line had 7 of the 12 run stops for the game. That's really, really encouraging for me. Rieger, he had a pretty good game too. 1 quarterback hit, 4 hurries, and he had 4 run stops that led the team this week. So he's been tremendous. He leads the team on the season with 8. So he's been tremendous. Christian Allegro is second on the team with 7. So getting run stops from your defensive end is a good thing. That means he's setting the edge and he's competing out there. They're going to start running to the other side because they're going to be like, yeah, that guy is good against the run. So we're going to run to the other side. So that's a good thing that helps the Badgers be able to set up their defense how they want to play it. Daryl Peterson had a sack. That's a sack now in back-to-back weeks for him. That's what his job is to do, get after the quarterback and cause havoc, make impact plays, momentum plays. 6 sacks for Wisconsin, two from the D-line. Lane and Peterson got them. They had one hit and 13 hurries. Total for the Badgers, 8 of the 13 hurries came from the defensive line. So really nice job by the defensive line. That's probably the most improved spot on the roster from last year to this year. I don't think I hear any disagreements from either of you guys.
Looking at the linebackers, like I said last week, we're probably going to have some crossover with the linebackers and D-line just because some of these guys are going to be playing on the edge. So they're going to be kind of like, it's like, aside from Jake and I being like, you get Rieger, I get Cheeks, you get Witt, I get, somebody, and, going back and forth. We're just going to talk about guys that do well and give them extra emphasis if we see stuff. What I will say this week was Sebastian Cheeks was a guy who was causing consistent pressure. Last week it was Rieger. This week it was Cheeks. Christian Allegro made a really big play, a huge tackle for loss on 4th and 1. That was something I wanted to see, was big plays in the running game. We got to see Tack Curtis show off his speed a little bit. Middle Tennessee put a new quarterback in, and the third play that they put in this new, basically an athletic quarterback, a read option type quarterback. Yeah. Curtis chased him down for a sack, and the next play, Mason Rieger destroyed their running back. So just a really good, a really cool set. And then we get to the 4th quarter, and the game's kind of out of reach at that point. So we got to see Michael Garner get a tackle for loss, and we got to see Mason Posa get a sack.
Yeah.
And Cooper Catalano getting some playing time as well. Mm-hmm. So cool to see that. And then in my mind, looking at the defense, the way that I see it, they essentially allowed 3 points. The other 7 kind of came because of the offense having that ugly turnover. That pretty much, I don't want to say gifted, but basically gift wrapped a touchdown to Middle Tennessee. All they had to do was tear off the wrapping paper, and they had it. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm at with the defense, the linebackers. Mike, what are you looking at with the secondary?
Yeah. So, I mean, it was pretty good for the most part. I mean, Middle Tennessee had 208 yards passing, 75 of which were off of 3 deep balls, basically. 1 in the beginning over Rico, 1 over De'Anthony Hill, and I think late in the first quarter, early second, and then 1 to start out halftime. I think that was over Emilio Agard. So you take those 3 balls out, for the most part, it was pretty good overall. All 3 of those deep balls are very well thrown. I know, like in the moment when I was texting Jacob during the game, I was pretty pissed off. But looking back at it, literally every single one of those were dime pieces, as I like to say. So kudos to recovering after that. Like Tyler said, 3 points is still pretty damn good overall. So Preston Zagman, 5 total tackles. He was a force again, 3 solo. Austin Brown, 2 tackles. Rico had 2 tackles and a pass deflection. Great to see there. I'm going to give a shout out to Emilio Agard. He got his first interception of his Badger career. I don't know why the quarterback threw that ball that he threw, but hey, he was there and he was ready for it. So
that was a great play by him too to break it.
It was.
He was waiting for it. He was pouncing on it.
Yeah.
So shout out to
have that clipped, and Jake and I are gonna maybe make some content on that later this week.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, so kudos to him. He's going to be I think he's going to be one of those 3-4 year Badger guys for this team. So you're going to hear Emilio Agard's name a lot over the next few years here. So not too much after that. It was shout out to the Nita native, Matt Young. He got some reps in this game. He had a tackle. So for all you Wisconsinites that are familiar with the name, he was able to get out there. And then Matthew Traynor, the other backup safety, he actually had a pretty big game given the limited amount of reps that he had. He had 3 tackles. So, no, I think overall you're sitting in the good. The first 2 games last year in comparison to this year defensively, shit, man, I think we're miles ahead of where we were last year 2 games in. I think I just saw before we're tied for like 3rd in the country with 8 total sacks. It's granted it's only 2 games in, but I mean still 2 games in, you're at 8 sacks, tackles for losses up. We were not nearly in this position whatsoever last year. So I'm happy that we're creating blitz packages and getting different dudes involved. Tyler, you literally just mentioned it was Mason Reiger week 1. Now it's Sebastian Cheeks. This week it was Emilio Agard. Last week it was, guys like Gamir Latimer and who had the pick for us. Oh yeah, Preston Zach, of course. Yeah, he had 2 picks. So the more guys you get involved, same thing with the D line. Shit, we got 6 guys that we're 6 deep now with 6 guys that are 300 plus pounders that can rotate constantly. This week was Brandon Lane. You heard his name quite a bit. He was probably if you want to call it MVP of the D line in week 2, that's what I would probably say. So
he's a big old boy too.
Yeah, yes he is.
Big old boy.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have anything else you wanted to say on Middle Tennessee, or should we move forward towards Alabama?
We want Bama.
All right, start on the offensive side of the ball. Looking at the passing game, Alabama has played Florida State and Louisiana. And I'm going to be honest, it was Louisiana Monroe. 2 very different programs. I basically completely ignored everything from Louisiana Monroe and focused essentially just on how Florida State was able to beat Alabama.
That is also what I did.
Florida State only threw the ball 14 times. They ran the ball 49 times against Alabama. However, of those 49 rushes, 16 came from the quarterback. Now, it sounds like a lot of read option, which I'm not opposed to seeing Danny O'Neil kind of put in that role. To me, it just doesn't seem like something that is big for Jeff Grimes' offense. So whatever number of passes that Danny O'Neil does end up throwing, he needs to be efficient. Whether it's 15, whether it's 30, whether it's 40, it doesn't matter. Whatever number of passes he throws, he needs to be efficient. And I guess I just want to see if he gets into a point where they do give him the option to run, or they bake in some designed quarterback runs. I want him to take what the defense gives him. Mm-hmm. I'm at the point where I think I trust Danny O'Neil to run the ball if the option presents itself. So I get that on the passing game, I'm kind of going into the running game a little bit, but it's really just about trusting the quarterback. And like we said before the season started, this is why the Badgers went and got 2 starting caliber quarterbacks in the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. We're not putting a deer in the headlights out there. We're putting a guy who started as a freshman last season who has starting experience. So hopefully there's a better situation this year against Alabama than there was last year. So Mike, what are you looking for in the running game?
Opportunities, man. I mean, you basically just hit it on the head. I mean, Florida State, cooked these guys. They ran for over 200 yards. There's opportunity there for us to – it's not – basically, you read that whole stat line, Tyler, you just said, that sounds like Wisconsin. That sounds like the old –
sounds like Iowa.
Iowa, yeah, the Big Ten West teams.
I was say, damn near sounds like an Army-Navy game.
Yeah.
Fucking A, dude.
So when I look at this, I think if we can just pray to God Jake Renfro plays in this game.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be opportunity to, hopefully run a little bit and open up that play action. I thought, going back to last week real quick, I thought Jeff Grimes did a really good job adjusting. Not everything was going right for us in the first half. That's, I think, what a big, big difference is this year that we're also seeing. You're seeing adjustments. You're seeing different types of plays being called. I mean, 2 reverses, but that's just 2 examples, right? Nothing, but just getting back to the point, I love the fact with like Grimes, we know that he's good at adjusting. He like realizes, oh shit, this isn't working. We got to try and do this. But I think we still have to establish a run, even if Jake Renfroe doesn't play. Kerry Kadako's got to play center again, so be it. There's going to be opportunities there. So I'm still looking forward to at least Dylan Jones getting maybe 10 to 15 carries, Darion, hopefully, 8 to 10, Yak getting involved in some regard because he definitely deserves a place in that lineup. So I'm looking forward to seeing opportunity.
Jake, what are you looking for from the offensive line?
Yeah, so I also wrote down about the Florida State 14 pass attempts, but 2 of the 14 pass attempts went for 40-plus yards. They had one go for 40 and one go for 64. Remember the 64-yarder. That's going to come into my bold prediction. It's time to establish the run. In week 1, Florida State ran the ball 49 times, 239 yards, 4 touchdowns to 4.7-yard average. 7 players for Florida State had a rushing attempt. That sounds like Wisconsin. Florida State did a nice job mixing in the sweeps and the outside power runs. They let the quarterback run the ball a little bit. I don't see Danny O'Neal or Billy Edwards Jr. running the ball that much, but if the offensive line can sustain blocks and allow O'Neal / Billy Edwards Jr. to be comfortable back there, you can run the ball through the air, essentially. So anybody who's a ball knower knows exactly what I'm talking about. Hit the wide receivers and the tight ends on your little drag routes, your little slant routes, maybe run some wide receiver screens. You can run the ball through the air every once in a while if you can't just straight up go I formation and outpower them, which you're not going to be able to do that all game anyways. But Florida State, from what I watched, they were stretching them horizontally, which then allowed them to stretch them vertically through the air. So I think that's a really good game plan for Wisconsin to do. Offensive line's going to have to hold up. And, I think O'Neal could have a field day. I really liked what he did last week. If he plays like that with that level of poise, which is going to be tough on the road, Badgers have a chance.
I like it. Switch to the defense, stay in the trenches, though, Jake. What are you looking for from the D-line?
Yeah, so Bama quarterback Ty Simpson isn't known for his legs, so he's a different type of quarterback. He's kind of a statue back there. He has 11 carries for 20 yards and a touchdown, and he also has a 13-yard long for a run. So that means he has 10 carries for 7 yards. This guy is absolutely not an athlete, but he does have a pretty good arm. He is 100% a rhythm and timing passer. I'm looking for pressure to help the DBs. I'd be okay with playing a little bit more man this week and sending an extra rusher to try to speed him up a little bit. Also, we want him to be passing the ball. That means that the Badgers are winning, by the way. If they're just throwing the ball a ton, that means the Badgers are winning. So hopefully a fast start for Wisconsin. I wrote down that Tekka Curtis showed really good rush ability in the last couple of weeks, and Allegro is a little bit more of a coverage / tackle and space type. So maybe Tekka Curtis can end up being that guy that turns into the hunter this week and brings down Ty Simpson a few times.
So I like that you brought up that they passed a lot and also that he's run the ball a bunch because, again, I pretty much ignored the Louisiana Monroe game. Looked at the Florida State game. He passed the ball 43 times that game and also ran 9 times.
He did.
He ran 9 times in that game. So I'm looking at Christian Allegro and Tackett Curtis, not necessarily spying him, but like you said, with putting an extra guy in the box, if those guys can just go get to the quarterback. I mean, we've seen a couple times where the Badgers have been able to get pressure with just 4 or 5 rushers. It would be more ideal to get to the quarterback, like Jake said, and speed him up than to try to say, all right, we're going to rush 3 and drop 8 into coverage.
Yeah.
I'd rather go the former route, which in my mind also means that Cheeks, Rieger, Witt, Fearbright, they all also need to keep their edges set. Not allow him to escape the pocket because, like Jake said, he's not necessarily the best athlete, but he's not afraid to take off either. The way I see it is kind of how Tyler Van Dyke was for the Badgers at the beginning of last season.
That's
where he's mostly a pocket presence guy, but if you dare him to run, he's not going to be like, no, I don't want to. Like, he's going to take 4, 5, 6 yards if you give it to him.
Right.
So I just don't want them to get to a point where they're over rushing and then letting him step up, into the pocket or, flush him out of the pocket. And then he's got all day to find somebody downfield after the pocket breaks down and then just finding Ryan Williams, who is playing this week.
Yep.
It's annoying because I don't like it when teams that I don't like have nice things, but Ryan Williams is a fucking stud. There's no denying that, and I do not envy Mike's secondary and what he's looking for on Saturday.
Hey, we got a stud over there too. He wears number 2 as well. So just saying.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that I wrote down for this preview, I wrote down chess match, basically in the secondary. As Tyler said, Ryan Williams, yeah, he is probable today. I think Kalen DeBoer confirmed today in his press conference or yesterday or something like that they do expect him to play. But it's not just Ryan Williams anymore. I mean, Bama's got 6 different receivers with at least 5 catches this year. At least week 1 when Ryan Williams, he had 5 catches for 30 yards. I mean, he wasn't even the leading guy. The leading guy is Jeremy Bernard, who absolutely had a field day. I guess a lot of it was garbage time, but I mean, 8 catches, 146 yards. That's 18.3 yards per reception. So he's getting some good looks for sure. 37 yards was his longest, so he's getting up and down the field. But I do think, going into this, it's going to be really interesting to see how they match up. Who knows? I don't know if Ryan Williams is going to start right away too, or if they're going to slowly just bring him back into things. That's going to be a big part of this. But I think you're going to see Rico lining up in different spots on damn near every play, basically, right? I think he might start off on Jeremy Bernard, who's got the hot hand a little bit, but maybe once Ryan Williams, if he makes a big play, then you adjust it a little bit. But no, I mean, and then as far as leading up to that, I do think a lot of it's going to come down to our pass rush too. One of my
Can I say something just because you mentioned pass rush while you're talking about the secondary?
Sure.
I want to see maybe at least once for sure, maybe twice. I want to see Jameer Latimer running cornerback blitzes. I feel like at some point this season, just based on the really early returns, I feel like he's got the capability to murder a quarterback on a corner blitz.
Yeah, we could use it too, and I definitely expect Tressel to open it up a little bit, so to speak. Who knows? I mean, it's those first couple of weeks, some coaches, both sides like to, hide some stuff. I do expect Tressel to open up the kitchen sink, so to speak, a little bit and, create some different packages and whatnot. But, yeah, I'll go into our X factors because I don't want to give too much away. But, yeah, it's going to be a chess match.
Start talking about it. You started it, so
go away.
Give me yours.
So mine is the matchup between Mason Reiger and Caden Proctor. These dudes are going to be playing on Sundays. This is must-see TV, this matchup. I think that this is going to be, one of the best matchups to watch all over the country. I mean, Mason Reiger's a beast. We've seen what he could do. Caden Proctor, obviously one of the most hyped. I mean, and for a good reason.
Probably gonna be a first round pick.
Yeah, he's gonna be the first lineman, out of the draft. But Mason Reiger, this is a guy who probably wouldn't be at Wisconsin right now if he wasn't hurt all season last year. I mean, We've seen how much of a force he is right now, and no, I am just looking forward to seeing that because he is a fucking monster in my view. And I think the combination with him and Sebastian Cheeks, if we can create some pressure on Ty Simpson, get him a little uncomfortable, hopefully that can just open it up for guys like Rico and, Preston Zachman to just make plays, whether that's maybe throwing a cross-body throw or something along those lines that we could, create turnovers for because we're doing a better job of that this year, at least as of now. So, no, I am going to be glued to that matchup for sure. And I think that could play a big part in the end result in this.
I like it. Jake, who is your X factor?
My X factor is actually an element of the game that could happen, and it's explosive plays. So I was very excited to talk about this. I told Mike, I actually called Mike last night, and I was like, I got some good shit. I went through every single play with the Florida State and Bama game, and I went through explosive plays, 10-plus yards, and then I also took down the negative plays or no-gain plays. So this doesn't count penalties or sacks, right, because those are obviously negative plays. But in terms of X factor explosive plays, Florida State had 7 runs that went over 10 yards. 7. They had 11 total, so they had 4 passes that went over 10 yards, or at least 10 yards. So very good by Florida State. In terms of negative plays, they had 0. 0 negative plays. They had 3 plays that got no gain. So if you're averaging that out, they still have 8 plays that were more positive. For Bama, they had 12 total plays that went over 10-plus yards. 5 of those plays happened on the first 2 drives when the game was still in balance. After that, Florida State started whooping that ass. And on those plays, 11 of the 12 were pass plays. They had one run that went over 10 yards, so Florida State did a really nice job bottling up their run. Then you go to their negative plays. They had 4 plays for negative yards and 3 plays for no gain. Yeah, it's going to be a big factor for this game. The Badgers, control what you can control. Don't get penalties. Hold your blocks and create explosive plays down the field.
My thing, and I kind of cheated by not picking a specific player or matchup either, but I went with the defense, and my thing with the defense is to not let Alabama score fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because when you let them score fast, they score a lot.
Yeah.
So moving into score predictions, Jake, give me your score prediction from the head.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, guys.
Don't be.
I have Alabama winning 24-20. I think that this Badgers team is much better than people think. They're going to earn some respect. They might actually get a couple top 25 votes after this week, even after a loss. I mean, there's that one chick going viral right now that actually moved Florida up after they took a loss to
I saw that.
Florida. Did you see that? Dude, it was a major story. I couldn't believe that she was trying to defend that. She's a fucking idiot. But anyways, I have Alabama winning 24-20.
All right, Mike, what do you have from the head?
I'm sorry as well. This is contingent. I am. So going into this when thinking about it, I went off of the depth chart that got released on Monday. In my view, at least as of now, Jake Renfro is not playing in this game. That's just not that. And again, a lot could change going into Saturday. I'm strictly going off of the depth chart that was released on Monday. Mm-hmm. I got Alabama winning 27-13. The Badgers still cover. I do think at the end of the day that I just looking at the eye test from that first, it just scares me if we cannot get off to a fast start in this game, or at least kind of like how the first 2 games went for us. I am very, very worried because this is Alabama. This is not Middle Tennessee or Miami, Ohio. We cannot afford to come out like how we have been the last two weeks. Bama will go up 14-0 on us just like that. That's just in my view. That's just. I'll
say this. A little bit easier to get the guys pumped up to play at Alabama than it is to play fucking Middle Tennessee. I will say that.
We're going to see, right? I mean, this
mindset will be a little bit different, bro. There's going to be people heckling them and stuff. That gets the blood flowing a little bit faster.
Yeah, I expect that because Coach Fick has said it multiple times. This is what these guys have signed up for. You know what you have signed up for, whether you're transferring in or you're coming in as a freshman or whatever, you're junior, senior, whatever, who you transfer out, whatever. Yeah. These guys know what they signed up for at the end of the day. He's been very repetitive, saying that. So, Jake, you do have a point. I do fully expect these players to be engaged. And again, this is why they are here, for playing games like this and for having this kind of gauntlet of a schedule we have coming up. So I'm hoping they're locked in. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, I do have us covering, but I don't have us winning.
So you guys make good points on the getting up for the better opponents, and I think the Oregon and Penn State games last year are perfect examples.
Yeah.
Of playing up to your competition. So I would gladly be wrong about my score prediction from the head. I do have Alabama 30-16. In my mind, I did still see that as the Badgers being able to put 4 scoring drives together. And that to me is again, it's not obviously we don't want the Badgers to lose. We're going to do heart predictions in a second and we're all going to have the Badgers winning. I guarantee it. But if there's, and I don't want to do this because I don't love the participation trophy connotation that comes with saying consolation prize. But if the Badgers can put 4 scoring drives together, it will make me feel better about their potential of pulling an upset off later in the season as the gauntlet continues. This is just the first of the 6 Infinity Stones that they're facing with the fucking schedule this year.
Yeah.
So I'd be happy to be wrong, but if I flip to my heart prediction, this is going to tie into my bold prediction for the game as well. I have the Badgers 28-27. So Mike, what's your score prediction from the heart?
I got 21-17. I think if there's any chance for us to win this game, we're gonna have to keep it kind of low scoring. Just my view. But of course, I got the Badgers winning from the heart, baby.
From the heart, yeah. I mean, It's the ideal optimistic scenario. So, Jake, what is your score prediction from the heart?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the spread, Mike, because this is the biggest spread that the Badgers have had to face since 1996, which Makes me feel old because I was alive then. I flipped the score a little bit. I agree with Mike. It's going to have to stay low scoring. We're going to have to control time of possession. I have Badgers winning 24-17.
All right. So I said my heart prediction tied into my bold prediction. So with the Badgers scoring 28 points, I have that as 4 touchdowns, and I have it as all passing touchdowns, and 2 of them going to freshmen.
Ooh, okay.
So could be Eugene Hilton, could be Grant Steck. So some interesting things there, but 4 passing touchdowns, 2 of them to freshmen.
What do you have Bama scoring?
27.
28-27? Jesus Christ, Tyler. Give me a heart attack on Saturday.
Hey, it's a hard score.
Hey.
It is, man.
Hey, fair point. Well played. Mike, you have a bold prediction? I'll give you mine after.
Yeah, kind of. And this is just more so what is going to end up happening, not necessarily from the heart or head type thing. I got Danny O'Neal's going to throw the ball at least 40 to 45 times in this game.
Whoa.
I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't care if my score prediction of 30-16 comes true, but if Danny O'Neal is running around slinging that thing, hell yeah.
And it could be for better. It's for better or for worse.
Let it fly. Fuck yeah.
I'm with it. So I told you guys to remember that 64-yarder, right, that Florida State had in week 1. That 64-yarder came off a wheel route from the running back coming out of the backfield. I have Yak catching a long touchdown, 45-plus yard touchdown against Alabama, because I think that linebacker, if that same linebacker is covering Cade Yakameli, Yak's going to yak. That's all I'm going to say.
I love it. All righty. There you have it. Our recap and preview of the Badgers football team. We will be back again next Wednesday. Like Jake and I said, we'll have 4 Brewer games, and we'll welcome Mike back again next Wednesday to recap the Alabama game, whether it be good, bad, or ugly. And then we'll be previewing their next game. So jump in and tune in again next Wednesday. And also we will see the Packers tomorrow night. So tune in to our Packers recap show next Tuesday.
One more sleep.
All right. See you guys later. See you next week.
Later.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Trying to lose weight? It's time to try Hers. At forhers.com/4u, you can access affordable doctor-trusted weight loss treatments tailored just for you. These include oral medication kits or compounded GLP-1 injections. Through Hers, pricing for oral medication kits start at just $69 a month for a 10-month plan when paid in full upfront. No hidden fees, no membership fees. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to feel like yourself. Hers brings expert care straight to you with 100% online access to personalized treatment plans that put your goals first. Reach your weight loss goals with help through Hers. Get started at forhers.com/4u to access affordable, doctor-trusted weight loss plans. That's forhers.com/4u, forhers.com/4u. Paid for by Hims and Hers Health. Weight loss by Hers is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions at forhers.com apply.